What's up, Renegade Nation? Before we begin the video, I'd like to give a big shout out to our most recent Patreon supporters: Nathan Edgington, BCC Happy, Death Singer, Kaylee McRae, Jennifer San Marco, Sharday Ratter, Ember Quill, XX Raiden XX, Loiso Crow, Thomas Gabriel White, The Common Cold, Grimex Law 22, Hayden Morandini, Evil Twin 01, Starman 12, Daniel Hudson, Tiffy, Goku, XS7, Guiri 9, Douglas Veron, Carl Lee, Abigail Stemper, John Beck, Mark Rios, Taylor Mitchell, and OXL. Thank you all very much for your support. And if you want to support us on Patreon, feel free to click the link down below to find out more. We'll see you there.
Nope. Nope.
You motherfucker, every time.
Right behind you.
What? How?
Oh, damn it. How am I going to explain this to my wife?
Well, we pretty much covered everything there is to cover about Star Wars with Doug Walker, except for this. There was that one that we did, and then all of a sudden the power went out, and I was just like, dang it! Which, Nick and I re-recorded it, and Nick seemed to like it. But, yeah, Rise of Skywalker, the final film in the Skywalker saga. And, honestly, if you want to know, if I had the money for it, I would buy Lucasfilm back from Disney, in which they'd probably be willing to sell it right now because of how badly they've messed up the movies. I mean, I know a lot of people are just like, oh, but they made so much money. Yeah, but they could have made so much more. That's the whole thing. They could have made so much more if Disney would have pulled their own head out of their butts and would have just, made smart decisions. But no, you got to pander to pretty much everyone out there to try and get them to see our movie. And then what happens? Your toy sales go down, your ticket sales go down, and it's sad. It's sad to see where the franchise once stood to where it is now. And I know there's people out there who are going to say, oh, stop harping on it. I'm not going to stop harping on it. I know there's people out there who are defending it, and I know there's people out there who say the prequels are, there's actually some people who have said that that Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars film.
A lot of people say that. I disagree.
Before y'all start writing the hateful comments down below saying, we need, I respect your opinion. Let me say that. I respect your opinion. I disagree, but I respect your opinion. Now, that's not me trying to be facetious and, say, oh, yeah, let's agree to disagree, bro. I'm right and you're... No, I'm just saying everyone is entitled to their opinion. You are entitled to yours. I'm entitled to mine. Revenge of the Sith is, I'd say, probably the third or fourth best Star Wars movie.
I don't know. Don't make me count in my head.
Well, Empire, probably obviously number one.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
New Hope I
mean, the original trilogy is going to be up there for me.
Well, yeah. Third, I go back and forth, but right now, where I just watched Return of the Jedi with Quinn recently, I got to say probably Empire, New Hope, Return of the Jedi. Fourth would probably be Revenge of the Sith. I could fit Force Awakens in there and swap it out with Revenge of the Sith, but I don't know. To me, it's just the consistency of the storytelling in Revenge of the Sith fits better than Force Awakens. That's just me, though. Force Awakens had better effects by far. I mean, actual puppets and practical effects over over the all CGI stuff that George Lucas did, which. Yeah. But
I mean, there's a lot I liked about Rogue One, though.
Oh no, well, yeah, Rogue One. I'd say Rogue One is. I'd say okay. I'd say Rogue One is up there with. I'd say it's up there with Return or Revenge of the Sith. I'd say it's. I'll actually for right now, yeah, Rogue One Rogue One, I'd say, is probably better than Revenge of the Sith. But hey, that's Rogue One's the best like newer one that's come out. I mean, Solo could have been good.
I like Solo.
I do too. It's just for me, the filmmaking choices are weird. I mean, everything seems so bland. It's like whenever he's doing like that, one of the opening scenes where he's on this planet fighting in the war, and everything's brown. Like, don't get me wrong. I know it's like to try and portray, the hellish nature of war, but at the same time, you need to at least have a color palette that is pleasing to the eyes in some way, or if anything, does a better job of portraying it than just brown. I would have used like yellow haze, like mustard gas.
Wow.
That's what I would have done. But it is what it is. But right now, the Star Wars franchise is at a bit of a crossroads. The only thing that the fans are on board with 100% pretty much is The Mandalorian. And considering Kathleen Kennedy is frozen production of the Obi-Wan series, I mean, what else is there to say? Clone
Wars is back for a little while.
Yeah. This is supposedly the final season, season 7, which is going to close up all the loose ends that were left from when the franchise was over. Also, Star Wars Rebels is over. It ended.
Resistance was kind of a flop. I didn't really keep up with it.
Yeah, it could have been so much more. But yeah, so far, I think a lot of people are excited for The Mandalorian because they've already entered production on season 2 and it's proceeding smoothly. Because Filoni's back as the primary narrative writer, and of course Jon Favreau is the head producer.
I saw a satire headline that said Pedro Pascal suffering from immense back problems for carrying the entire franchise on his shoulders.
Well, to be fair, it's Pedro Pascal and his stunt doubles.
Yeah.
Because his stunt doubles do amazing work under the helm, portraying the Mandalorian. But Pedro Pascal is what makes that role.
To be able to convey anything from under a helmet without being able to see the face emote is pretty impressive.
Yes, and honestly, that's one reason why he's one of my favorite new modern actors.
Yep.
There's actually talk of the Highlander movie that Chad Stahelski, the director of the John Wick franchise, is wanting to do. There's talk that he's actually trying to get him to play Ramirez.
Well, Ramirez, the Spaniard, so that would kind of make sense, even though he was an Egyptian. Yeah, I know.
He's an Egyptian posing as a Spaniard, but within that realm.
Yeah, he's presumably living in Spain for hundreds of years, so,
And also, Pedro Pascal is a very talented, he does a lot of his own stunts, which on Game of Thrones, a lot of that fight scene where he's twirling the spear, that's him. And I think, as Ramirez, he could kill. It's just I wonder who you'd get to play Connor McLeod.
Don't know.
My guess is the studio would probably go with a tried, true, tested actor, maybe like Jamie Dornan or Taron Egerton from Kingsman. I would say that. I don't know. Presumably they would want someone who looks young and could pull off the different accents, because Connor McLeod, of course, uses the Scottish accent. Comes to America, has a really good American accent, and then of course talks to a guy who thinks he's Napoleon in the madhouse. Wait, does that happen in the first film?
Frick, I can't remember.
I can't remember either. That's why they need to remake the Highlander franchise, because right now the narrative is so muddled because of just scattershot storytelling. But yeah, it is what it is. Well, speaking of scattershot storytelling, tied it back in somehow. The Star Wars saga came to an end with The Rise of Skywalker. I thought it was meh.
I thought it was better than Last Jedi.
Oh yeah, agreed. I agree, 100%. And I would say it's probably the best. I'd say I'll give the edge to Force Awakens, because at least Force Awakens didn't have to like dredged through a shit ton of lore that doesn't matter anymore. I'll say, okay, Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi.
I mean, there's some really cool visuals in Rise of Skywalker that I really want to see. I mean, because it's supposed to be a big ender of a movie, but
could have been so much more.
Oh yeah.
I mean, keep Snoke in there and just have it revealed that he was Darth Plagueis the entire time. That to me is what I would have done. I mean, because I think that would fit. I think that would fit pretty well. And also, you mentioned you liked the idea of Rey's parents literally being nobodies.
Well, I mean, it didn't really bother me that they didn't play on that, because it's like every orphan wants to believe that, you know, something happened, that, like, you know, they're like the child of like royalty or something, and some tragedy like separated them. Nobody wants to believe their parents sold them for drinking money. Everyone has that hope, like.
And I think that would have made Rey a much more interesting character if that were the case, and that was revealed in Last Jedi, and then, you know, to put her in there with Finn, because Finn's a very interesting character that they wasted so badly.
What also makes that point pretty well, that like you don't have to have like special bloodlines to be Force sensitive.
No,
because that was kind of the message at the end of The Last Jedi, and they're like, just kidding, your grandpappy's actually one of the most powerful Force users in all of history.
Yeah, which, I don't know if you noticed, we're trying to remain as spoiler-free as possible on it, but...
Oh.
Or not, I don't care.
Why are you watching this, then?
I don't care. Well, I don't know. Truth be told, Rise of Skywalker, the nostalgic... Well, go ahead.
This will have spoilers in it, I'm sure.
No doubt. Because Doug's not afraid of spoilers. I mean...
Because, I mean, to kind of point out how this movie fell down, some of them were kind of spoilery.
Yeah.
But most of the spoilers happen in like the first 10 minutes. I mean, they retcon like all of The Last Jedi in like the first 10 or 15 minutes.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, the whole romance with Rose Tico doesn't exist anymore. Oh, who's training Rey? That's Leia now. Wait, isn't Carrie Fisher dead? Doesn't matter, CG replacement. And of course, I don't know, man. There's just so much wrong. But Rise of Skywalker tried its best to fix an overall broken franchise. Let's see what Doug has to say about it. What a way to open. Pretty much. I think that's where we're at. Okay.
Oh, the Razor Crest and the what was it? What they call it?
Absolution?
Well, no, he renamed it.
Absa-friggin... I can't remember. Oh, hey, Doug. What's up? Hello?
Okay, so we gotta get to the Orange Planet. We'll give it a name later. Next, we gotta find the Dagger of Daggering. After that, we gotta cure some bugs with our new Force powers. We'll just mention it in passing. Go to the store, pick up some milk, grab the kids from daycare. Oh, and you're the grandson of Boba Fett now. Trust me, this was all planned from the beginning.
Wait, what the hell are you doing?
Please, there's like 95 more errands to run.
I came here to find Star Wars.
Well, you're in it, man.
I just remember it being more grand and awe-inspiring.
We've been doing a lot with it lately.
Maybe too much? It looks so beaten and worn down. I don't think it was built to handle everything you're putting it through.
Nonsense. This baby runs on the finest of fuels.
Which is?
True, it creates a bumpy, even inconsistent ride, but it still keeps this old girl moving forward.
Funny. I remember when the ship ran on imagination and ideas.
Those were the old days, my friend. Now it's about sticking with what we know works.
Yeah, that's our returning pilot, JJ.
Returning pilot?
We've gone through a few of them.
All right, JJ. How do you generate this fuel?
Oh, it's a special formula we use over and over. Introduce poor hero dressed in white, hint at evil side, even though that obviously won't be a thing. Show bad guy in all black, serving seated overlord. Discover bad guy as a good side. Display ship battles where one simple thing always wipes the villains out. The hero wins, good bad guy dies. Rinse, repeat.
Isn't there only so long that formula can keep this going?
Well, we tried straying from it a few times, but the passengers didn't like that.
Oh, there goes my phone.
You're doing great, JJ. Here's some fuel for your ship.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm not happy, JJ. You're taking Star Wars in a direction I don't want it to go.
Oh, sorry, I'll change course right away. Better?
Quite.
Hey, that's not the direction I wanted.
Oh, sorry, switching back.
Jesus.
Hey!
Okay, why don't I fly in between, making you both happy and unhappy?
I'm pleasantly enraged by that.
Carry on.
So this is how Star Wars is right now.
Pretty much.
Are you really that surprised? Star Wars, from its premiere in 1977, changed not only cinema, but movie fandom. Because there were only 3 films for so long and they incorporated so many different mythical storytelling elements, there was kind of this sacredness that was built around it. This resulted in, let's say, passionate opinions over the years. Going from rose-colored glasses to slow disappointment, praising a creative genius only to shun him later, and watching the franchise be bought out and be passed on from creative team to creative team. All of this gained praise, anger, great memories, bad memories, no memories. Childhoods were reborn while others were destroyed. What was once seen as sacred stories became, well, what they always were, movies. Movies, like any art form, can change people in profound ways, but to many, Star Wars was becoming a way of life, and any changes to a way of life is going to be met with some hostility. And yes, I know the majority of Star Wars fans aren't hostile or demanding, they're a lot like any other movie fans. But I'm talking about the fans the filmmakers probably listen the closest.
Why?
That being the ones who take it the most seriously. Whether it's serious love or serious hate, these movies are always guaranteed to get big reactions. And once again, Star Wars fans are passionate about the rise of Skywalker, the final part in this new cinematic trilogy. Passionate angry or passionate happy?
Yes.
Yes. Again, everyone seems all over the map whether this progressed towards the familiar world we know and love, or regressed back to the same tired tricks.
Good thing I'm in the driver's seat this time. If there's one thing I'm always praised for, it's how I stick the ending.
Are you sure you're the only one piloting?
Oh yeah, back to one creative poet leading the way. Nobody else calling the shots.
Alright, I guess explain how this new old Star Wars works now.
I don't know, you might not like everything you hear.
I'm not afraid.
Good.
You will.
Yeah, I had that coming.
Yeah.
This is Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. The dead speak.
Come on, talk like a real person.
No, those are literally the first words from the opening crawl.
Christ.
Yeah. The voice of Emperor Palpatine is heard on a radio transmission from Kylo Ren searches the universe so he can kill them all. Fearing Palpatine might take control of the First Order. He finds him in a hidden part of the galaxy where a legion of Sith fanboys have been growing an army.
I've come here to kill you.
But then you will never get the answers to the questions you possess.
But the answer is disappointing.
Extremely.
Okay, I'll ask.
Let's retcon this shit.
How are you alive?
Something, Revenge of a Sith.
Who is Supreme Leader Snoke?
Something, I grew him in a bottle.
What's your major plan?
Something, we join forces and I give you an army.
Can I trust you?
Come on, you act as if I have a long history of backstabbing people.
Okay, I'm in.
Good. First order of the First Order is to kill Rey. Right after you put a quarter in so I can continue my shaky animatronic movements. Welcome to Chuck E. Cheese. Let's wish Snoke 72 a happy birthday.
So unsettling.
Make a wish
Yeah.
and strike those candles down with all of your hatred, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete. Also free tokens.
Meanwhile, the Resistance is hiding out on low-calorie Endor. Yeah, they ran out of looks for these planets, so I'm just calling them what they're ripping off. As General Leia trains Rey as a Jedi.
It looks like Palpatine's back. But I thought Palpatine was dead.
We've had one Palpatine, yes. What about second Palpatine?
You need to figure out how to cure all the Jedis that have come before you.
To be fair, it was Pippin who said that, not Mary.
That. Once more at the end. Wait, it's been seconds and there's been no rush of movement. Indeed, we need to get Chapter 2 this. Right. Everyone act panicky. Poe, you try to get cheap laughs with unfunny small talk.
Got it. What's the deal with everything?
Finn, you try to continue to
going
justify your
Seinfeld.
existence here.
Right. Ray, there's something important that I have to tell you.
What?
I don't know, but I'm gonna ask you 5 more times.
That's the best you've got.
I'm a reformed killer stormtrooper. How can you make me interesting?
Never mind. Just make small talk with Poe.
Got it.
What's the deal? What's the deal?
Everybody, go to different planets to find Palpatine. And run!
Accurate.
You stay behind and help out here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you've been through enough.
I am more than happy to be Jar Jar in the last 2 prequels.
Mel!
They make their way to low-calorie Tatooine, where a festival is being thrown by the natives. Go diversity? And among the celebration, they come across Lando.
Hi, I'm Lando.
Sup, homie?
They then get chased down by stormtroopers and fall into quicksand that leads them to a cavern where they find a Sith dagger. Then they come across a hurt monster, but Rey uses her force powers to heal its wounds.
How did you do that?
Oh, I just gave him some of my life force.
You used the Force to Force life force?
No, I used the force to force life force.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Oh, I know what this is. We started playing around with that idea. One of our characters uses it to heal someone, and there's a mystery to what it is and to how it works.
Oh, let me guess. You take your time and let the weight of a situation sink in?
Pretty much.
There's no time for that. We gotta get to saving Chewbacca, who was captured by the First Order.
What? When did that happen?
When we looked away for a few seconds. Keep up, man. Chewie's dead now.
What?
Yeah, we see Rey and Kylo Ren play tug-of-war with a prison ship, and she accidentally zaps it.
What? Chewie's dead?
No, now he's alive.
What? How?
There's another prison ship off screen, obviously.
So he was captured off screen and put in a different ship off screen?
Yeah, stay on track. Now the prequels are cool again.
Okay, that I know you're lying about.
No, it's sadly a thing. Listen.
I mean, they're not that bad when compared to Last Jedi.
Yeah,
This is
I
true.
mean, I saw them when I was 2. I figure I'm a good judge of cinema at that point. And the Emperor was cool.
Hey, JJ, we want to see more Emperor.
Oh, right away. More Emperor on the beaten path.
This path is beaten all right.
Well, what do you do if you can't have constant exposition and jumping from place to place every few minutes?
I don't know. Visual storytelling, slow pacing, short but relatable dialogue so you can understand character quickly.
Why are you still on this? We just missed 8 more scenes.
Of course we have.
Now they're on low-calorie
This is not the
croissants
way.
with a dash of Hoth, where they need the writing on the dagger translated, and one of Poe's old flings named Zori can help. You know, I've seen your face. I'm not sure why you're trying to keep it hidden.
I'm trying to do like a Boba Fett thing, keeping my appearance a mystery.
For what, the 4 minutes you're in this trilogy?
Well, here, you can see my eyes. Happy?
Not really. Your eyes look great. If you had like 3 eyes or something, we'd be more curious about what you look like.
Let's talk about you.
Okay.
You really think of all the characters people want a sit-down moment with you?
Hey, we're just trying to build up the drama of me about to become a general.
Aren't you that idiot that mutinied in the middle of a chase?
I remember why I don't like you. We get to the one thing that's been continually good in this new trilogy. Aside from that, Rey and Kylo Ren's connection. Each of them tries to convince the other to join their side, and they communicate through their mental and physical force powers despite not being in the same room. One of the few things not retconned from Last Jedi. But don't worry, they backtrack on other stuff.
So that's where you are.
Oh shit.
Accurate.
Join me, for I know your importance. Your caretaker never told you what happened to your parents.
He told me enough. He told me that you killed them.
Nobody told you that.
You know what? I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting what we're vomiting up and rehashing for this one. So my father is someone bad, right?
No.
Oh, good. We don't have to go through all that again.
Your grandfather is someone bad.
Oh, okay. Well, that's new territory. Who is it? Snoke?
No.
Palpatine?
Yes.
Hux?
No.
That guy Benicio del Toro played last time?
You already guessed it.
What? Who?
Palpatine.
Wait, Palpatine's her granddaddy?
Uh-huh.
Who the hell slept with him? I mean, it'd have to be right after his face got lightninged and shit. You telling me somebody saw that guy and was like, hey, might be a good fuck?
Somebody slept with his
Apparently that
clone,
doesn't
as it
matter.
turns
What do you
out.
mean that doesn't matter? How does someone bang the leader of the galaxy and then disappear? He didn't keep tabs on her? She somehow avoided him? This is the fucking story, man. This is the juicy shit the trilogy should have been about.
Oh, what? The Last Jedi apologists didn't need to know Snoke's story.
Oh, shut up. They said Rey was a nobody, so anyone could be strong with the Force. But now it's midichlorians, and you have to be related to somebody. Boo!
No, what else was I supposed to explore with this? Maybe we could explore Snoke, dead. Maybe dive into Rey's past, nada. Maybe draw out Finn and Phasma's rivalry, kaput. Maybe see if Rey would join the dark side. End it. What was I supposed to do? Everything was finished before it was even set up.
There definitely is some truth to that.
Yeah.
Last Jedi set up some new ideas and directions.
But ended it before
but
it had a chance to
wrapped
do
up
anything.
So much that character-wise, all that was left to explore was Rey and Kylo Ren's relationship. And even then, not a ton, as they seem to have stayed on their chosen sides. To suddenly give the final film a blank slate to go off of is a bit of a challenge, to say the least. And here's the thing, taking into account all 9 films when you watch them all together, having Rey be related to the Emperor is not a bad idea. I mean, in chronological order, it does kind of start with Palpatine, so it makes sense it would end with him as well. But to bring him into this new trilogy now, especially in such a rushed and clumsy manner, this was way too big an idea to squeeze into the final film.
Yes.
Had they started out with this idea in The Force Awakens, maybe it could have developed into something gripping. Hell, even in Last Jedi, when they kill Snoke, if we suddenly hear the Emperor laughing, that would be kind of a good lead-in. Just something, anything. As is, it just feels like a last-minute surprise. Like, imagine you found out that Vader was Luke's father in Return of the Jedi instead of Empire Strikes Back. It just wouldn't be enough time to get all that you can out of it. So am I against the idea? No. Am I against the idea now? 1,000,000%!
Well, as the pilot who has vowed to take control of this journey, it's my responsibility to say, it's his fault.
How is this a different Star Wars?
I think we can all agree with that.
Different enough.
Well, but who is in charge of the decision making to split up the trilogy? That
Kathleen Kennedy. Well, here was the problem with the whole thing with Rian Johnson coming in. Rian Johnson is a great director. I am never, ever going to even attempt to say he's not a good director.
I thought Looper was cool as crap.
Yeah, Looper was great. His first film that I ever saw of his, Brick, was really good. And Knives Out, which I watched earlier this year, was actually really good. Like he hasn't done a really bad movie, in my opinion, except for Last Jedi. Now, it's because he wanted to tell his own Star Wars story. Look, if he wanted to do that, I would have signed him up to do a full trilogy after this was all said and done. I would have kept J.J. Abrams' script, and I would have adapted certain things and added certain things in that, to me, would have probably made the narrative flow better, depending on how J.J. Abrams had it going. But Kathleen Kennedy didn't do that. She allowed Rian Johnson full creative freedom for him to do whatever he wanted. Now, I respect Rian Johnson as a creator, but when you're trying to tell a trilogy story, it doesn't help when you introduce all these new ideas and then you instantly end them in the same film. And also, it doesn't help when you add in characters who, honestly, we don't have any connection to, and you don't make them interesting. We found interest in Lando Calrissian in Empire Strikes Back because he had a previous history with Han. Mike and I talked about this earlier. That's the reason why Rose Tico was not interesting. We had an emotional tie to her because of her sister dying, and spoilers, it's already been friggin' said in this video, but we had a little bit of an emotional connection from her sister dying, but outside of that, what did Rose Tico commit to the story other than the stupid casino scene? I mean, and also Holdo, whose plan was absolutely atrocious. And also the whole mutiny thing with Poe, I don't blame him, considering how Holdo acted. Holdo acted like a spoiled child who had all the secrets in the universe and wouldn't share anything with him in spite of everybody around her dying.
No.
God, so stupid. I mean, all right. That's enough ranting on Last Jedi for
Seriously,
one thing.
Like, if you really want a good Star Wars story, the Dark Empire graphic novel has pretty much everything that The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker had, but they just did it so much better because they had a really awesome use of Force projection by Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
They had a super fleet of galaxy-wide ranging planet destroyers. They had the return of Palpatine in a really cool way. I mean, they had, kind of Luke struggling with the dark side, and I mean, had pretty much everything they touched on. They just did it better,
way better, yeah.
And it's like they had Luke take out an AT-AT with a freaking lightsaber,
yeah,
like at the beginning of that graphic novel.
Wouldn't that have been awesome to see?
Like they have a Star Destroyer, a Commandeer Star Destroyer called the Liberator gets shot down. They're like, we got to go get Luke. So Falcon goes in. They're like, they find Lando and everybody. They even got Rebel Ewoks with guns. It's amazing. And then Luke comes walking out, and he just like totally takes out a AT-AT just on the ground. It's like, whoa! Like,
yeah, it shows just how much he's grown in terms of his powers, and
it's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
I love that comic.
But yeah, sorry everybody. Let's get back to it. I think there's going to be a little commercial thing. Nope, no commercial. Or, yeah, there is. Crap. I thought there wasn't, but, oh yeah, HelloFresh. It's pretty much like Blue Apron, I think. Doug, it's January. What's your Christmas tree still doing up? I'm just joking. It was January when he released this. I'm joking. Ours was up until about mid-January.
Some people keep them up all year round.
I don't. I mean, I already have the perception of a lot of people out there as like a brain-dead redneck, so I figured, might as well.
You mad enough to fight about it?
No. I really don't care.
After everyone escapes the First Order, Rey comes across the wreckage of the Death Star on low-calorie Waterworld. This world's different enough. I'll call it by its real name. As she happens to stand in the exact perfect location for the dagger to show her where to head.
Meanwhile, seeing how Finn's romance with Rey went nowhere.
No, I'm married to the Force.
And also his romance
Fair
with
enough.
Rose went nowhere.
He finally comes across someone similar to him. Although character-wise, maybe a little too similar.
So,
Oh, God.
I hear you were a stormtrooper.
I was.
I hear you left because you didn't want to slaughter people.
I did.
I hear you're underutilized because this movie has no idea what to do with you.
That I didn't hear, but sounds about right.
Want to talk about why we have nothing to talk about?
I think we just did.
Oh yeah. Here's to maybe being something.
Maybe.
Why do I suck in these movies now?
Yeah.
Rey comes across Kylo.
Even John Boyega himself, who ardently defended like the criticisms about the sequel trilogy originally,
I feel bad
now.
for
Yeah, I do too, because John Boyega's a great actor, and you wasted his character.
Ren on the Death Star, as well as a dark version of herself.
Trailer fodder.
Trailer fodder.
Seriously? But this is awesome.
Too awesome for Star Wars now. By the way, I'm a thing in this.
There better be some cool fan art of me.
I can take you to Palpatine. Come with me.
Never.
Very well. Shall we exit this ugly, grainy location to another ugly, grainy location?
Did they learn nothing from the movie Solo?
Rey defeats Kylo Ren, though, and decides to take his ship to find Palpatine.
Oh, can I get your keys? Thanks, you're a peach.
I guess Leia, though, uses her forced life force or whatever to give Kylo Ren extra life.
Well, she
honestly,
Rey
given
healed
Carrie
him.
Fisher's untimely
Huh?
death,
Rey healed him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because he honestly beat her, and then he stopped, and she sort of tapped into the dark side and
she
stabbed him with his saber.
Now you see, that's a good thing. I liked, they kept going back and forth on the light side and the dark side.
And then she sort of like had this panic moment where she came to and she healed him.
Yeah.
And then I think Leia, it was heavily implied that she helped.
Well, not only did she provide she provided like a little bit of help in getting him back healed. Also, she sort of, I think what she did was provide him with a little bit of mental levity whenever she provided him with the flashback of what I think is going to be mentioned
all
here.
this into the story pretty well. Yeah, except, of course, when somebody has to explain what's going on because Leia clearly can't.
She is giving up her life for him, so that when he finally passes, she will pass too.
Who are you? We built you up so much in the first movie and then did nothing with you.
Well, the Jedi grew several of me in jars while...
Forget it.
Rey makes a stop at Luke's old hideout and comes across the Transparent One himself.
How can I be a Jedi when I'm related to one of the most despised men in the universe?
Well, let me tell you right now, it's not all about the bloodlines.
Except it totally is.
I mean, in the last movie it wasn't, I suppose, but now I'm connected to one of the most powerful men in the galaxy.
Yeah, but I'm related to a man who just appeared out of nowhere. You wanna know how big my family tree is? One branch. That's it.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Why did you come here?
To say we're all hypocrites in these movies. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. That's an absolute. They didn't fix a damn thing with these movies.
Can I at least have your... Thank you.
Kylo Ren has a surprisingly touching scene with his father, Han Solo, which
That-
thankfully they never make clear if it's really him or if
I think this is a force projection that Leia did to him of his father, so he could have that, that moment of levity of doing the right thing instead of killing him.
I think it worked out well because I think originally it would have been, Leia, but Carrie Fisher passed, so
yes, they had to bring him in. Yeah, it would have worked better if I think with Carrie Fisher, but still getting him there.
Oh yeah, that
it's just
I pretty much I enjoyed that. I mean,
yeah,
in his head.
Dad, I realize how wrong I was about everything. I just wanted to say,
I know, son. I gave the only emotional scene in the movie. So long, everybody! I'm never coming back to these damn films, and I mean it this time!
So, remember how in the other movies when they're going into a fight they would discuss their strategy of how to take the enemy down? In this one they just head in and hope that other people show. All the discussions, all the strategy, all the times people sit around and listen to what they have to do so we have suspense of knowing when something doesn't go right, all gone. Why? Because you know the plan. It's the 4th time they've done it. Can you guess?
They shoot the one thing that blows everybody up.
That's what it always is!
Hey, now give us some due credit here. It's only the 5th time we've had a throne room scene where someone sits and watches people fight with lightsabers.
Yay! They're doing it again!
Boo! I don't want to see that! Boo!
Oh, okay, I'll change it up. How about it's still in the throne room, but the main villain doesn't show up until the end?
Yes! Now we'll both be disappointed!
Woo!
Actually, that's a good point. Who's even the main villain now? I mean, in Return of the Jedi, where this cliche started, the battle was with Vader, the main conflict of the previous 2 movies. Here, with Kylo Ren saying he's good now, I guess it's Palpatine, who's only introduced in this trilogy in this film. And even then, he's not in it for very long. What makes it even stranger is there's a giant stadium of Sith cultists or something watching them. How long have they been sitting there waiting for Rey to arrive?
Okay, when did he say she was going to get here? It's been freaking days and I smell like ass.
His predictions are never wrong.
Except when they are. How often has he been electrocuted or thrown off something?
That's only happened a couple of times.
What if this is one of those times?
5 dogs!
I'll take 5.
So as the battle wages above, Palpatine makes a proposition to Rey.
And you will take the throne as the Emperor of the New Order.
Why don't you just take the throne?
Something, force power, dark side.
All right.
Wait, I thought he wanted her dead.
That was plan A. Plan B is to have her come there so he can transfer his soul into her.
Why wasn't that plan A?
Because plan C is to suck both Rey and Kylo Ren's life force if they happen to show up together.
His backup plans are much better than...
Yeah. You're good. Nick is here, ladies and gentlemen. And, let me get the camera scooched out a little bit.
Hello.
What's up? We may have started without you.
Yeah. We were just watching Nostalgia Critic's thoughts on The Last Jedi, or not Last Jedi, but Rise of Skywalker.
Somebody did that.
That is accurate.
That's
very accurate.
That's gonna be slightly more tame than the actual outfit I'm gonna wear when I do battle with them.
Slightly more tame.
A lot.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go to Renegade Memes on Discord and look at Coyote's meme about Micah. It's pretty good.
Actually, I'll probably include it in this video.
Yeah, that'll work.
Or yeah, actually, I'll link it down below. Renegade Memes, ladies and gentlemen. We have a fair amount.
Than his original plans.
That's turning out to be Star Wars in a nutshell.
Is there any goddamn strategy in this movie?
Well, there is this one moment.
Space horses! Woo!
What?
Yep. Stinking space horses are in this again.
The same ones as before?
No. Different ones. All I can imagine is them transferring those animals to the friggin' fight.
This'll be great! There's totally so much we can do with these guys in a space battle! I'll get them up.
Kylo Ren shows up to help Rey, but that only makes things worse as the Emperor now has their unique bond that makes them much more powerful so he can drain their life force together, making him more powerful. It's dumb.
Let's make lightning strike twice, baby.
Really?
Now, for some reason, finally connects with all the Jedi of the past and uses their strength to fight back.
I believe in you.
I believe in you.
I believe in you.
I believe in you, Peter.
Believe in you, I do.
Open others.
I'm fine.
Kylo Ren gives his life force that Leia gave him to Rey, sacrificing himself to save her. Death is now like hot potato in this world.
Oh, Kylo. Just when I was learning to love you.
They kiss?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Odd. I always always thought they had more of a brother-sister relationship.
Like that makes any difference.
Oh.
Everybody returns to Localary Endor and celebrates
God.
despite the people they've lost.
Chewie, Leia wanted me to give this to you.
I will say that I am happy he finally got his medal.
What can I say? We're all hypocrites in these movies.
Fair enough.
Even Lando makes a friend.
So, where are you from?
I don't know.
Want to find out together?
Can I hit on someone that's not me?
Actually, you might be my daughter.
Ew!
Oh!
Rey goes to Luke's original home and buries the lightsaber, coming across an old resident.
Lightsabers. There were 2 lightsabers that were buried.
Nobody's been there for years. What's your name?
Rey.
And your last name that presumably your parents gave you?
They didn't.
Odd.
Well, I guess technically it's...
Say
I
it.
see. Because bloodlines don't matter, she's going to say her name is Palpatine, turning that evil name into something strong and hopeful.
Skywalker.
Or she picks Skywalker, a name associated with a dark overlord who killed children.
Younglings.
They're fucking called children.
Well, like this movie, I guess it's in the eye of the beholder. Rise of Skywalker, from my viewpoint, is a mess. I can't act like the previous 2 were perfect, but this seems especially all over the map.
Yeah.
The motivations keep changing, plot twists seem unearned, the pacing is way too fast, trying to accomplish way too much. And on top of that, it was
Gee, I wonder
ugly
why.
to look at. Even if you didn't like the previous 2, they were at least visually stimulating. This one is grainy, dark, colorless, and sometimes even hard to make out. As this trilogy draws to a close, I can't act like I wasn't introduced to some interesting ideas, but they never felt anchored down by a clear goal. Apart from, you know. I didn't hate this film by any means. It did give me some cool scenes, and honestly, it is nice to finally have some closure, even if it's not 100% satisfying. But that's kind of the Star Wars we have now, where in the past, Star Wars seemed to bring fans together. Whether for one reason or another, it now seems to leave them divided.
Nuh-uh, you're wrong. We're not divided.
Yes, we are. We're so divided.
Why don't I just do what makes everybody money? I mean, happy.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We're together. And so we're together. We disagree about the same thing. We disagree.
You're better than this, Mando. Get out of there.
Skywalker,
Get it for me.
What was that?
Hey, Mando, you find what you're looking for?
Yeah, but it's definitely not how I remember it.
Well, hurry back. You've got someone little waiting for you.
No. Hey.
Oh my god.
Oh, here we go.
That is the most adorable thing I've ever seen.
Too cute, too cute! Wait, you all like this?
How can we not love something like that?
I have never seen anything more precious.
Where can I see more of that?
Well,
Disney Plus.
I guess you can follow us. I mean, we are technically Star Wars.
What? Can't be. It's bringing all these fans together.
Well, without it, I wouldn't be here. Star Wars molded me, shaped me into who I am. I guess when something is really that powerful, it finds life anywhere, even in the most unlikely of places.
Like a bounty hunter raising a baby Yoda.
Yeah, actually, the more I think about it, I feel like most fans, if they heard that, would hate it.
Yet here we are.
Can I come?
Yeah, me too.
And me?
Sure. Come on, guys. Let's go down a different path.
This is the way.
So adorable. So what do you think? Is there a new hope for Star Wars?
For now. And when that fades, another will appear.
I guess just because I'm done with the Star Wars movies doesn't mean I'm done with Star Wars.
And like anything special, it isn't done with you.
I have to say, she looks really kick-ass as that cosplay.
Yeah. It was good, Cart.
Oh my god.
Tomorrow, if I pulls that off.
Am I supposed to know who that is?
There's this dude that was just like crying and crying over
What was that?
one of the Star Wars movies in like a review and stuff. Or it was one of the trailers actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
like,
that
he
was
was
him.
crying over the Rise of Skywalker trailer.
Yeah,
I believe.
I do remember
like
that.
in a reaction,
Gotcha.
and so he pretty much instantly made himself into a meme.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree Mandalorian is the way.
Well, here's the thing. The people at Disney, Kathleen Kennedy and people like that, have said that the Star Wars fan base is a bunch of toxic piece of shit men that don't know fucking good cinema if it bit them in the ass, basically. And basically that we're not going to be happy with Star Wars no matter what they do. And then they make the Mandalorian and fucking everyone is happy.
Everyone thinks it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
And so it's kind of like, hey, guess whose argument just got debunked?
Yeah,
Morons.
exactly. And look,
I mean, Clone Wars too. I mean,
yeah, Clone Wars. I mean, that was the bright spot during the prequel trilogy that a lot of people grabbed onto.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, it.
I kind of wonder if maybe Star Wars just shouldn't stick to series from now on because the series have gotten better than the movies.
Well, I think the movies, it's possible to do great things because there's so many like different pockets of lore that you can dip your hands into in the Star Wars franchise. I mean, the Old Republic, period, is
Fallen Order was really cool.
Yeah, Fallen Order is a really good game, and the whole thing with just how they're like how Disney can go about it, like they dropped the ball big time because I'm not gonna say Kathleen Kennedy's not a good producer because she gave us some of the greatest films of all time, like E.T. and like several other really good films, but her handling of
I'm gonna say that people can change.
I can too. I mean, as far as I've seen with the Star Wars franchise, her handling of it has been very haphazard.
So maybe it's that she wasn't a bad producer, but clearly something.
Well, you kind of see that, you know, the whole idea of like, you know, power. You know, once you get so much power, it can be corrupting. Because it's like, look, because I mean, I love the original trilogy, but like George Lucas can't take credit for all of it.
No.
And then you look at the prequel trilogy, when basically George Lucas was like, I have so much money. It's like, you know, I don't need the Screen Actors Guild. I'm going to cast whoever I want, write my own checks. And it's like, I mean, some of the plot, the pacing and dialogue was just absolutely terrible.
Yeah, well,
you know?
it's a lot like
About the only good job he did with that power was the casting.
But without good pacing and dialogue and writing, I mean, you know,
well,
it's like
it's a lot like Jack Kirby. There's a reason why Stan Lee is considered by many to be one of the greatest narrative writers and like character writers, because Jack Kirby could create worlds. Jack Kirby could create amazing worlds and some pretty good characters, and he was a pretty good artist. But the thing with him was, when it came to the finer details, he dropped the ball so many times to the point of where, you know, as a storyteller, everyone pretty much laughed at him. And if it wasn't for his collaboration with Stan Lee and making comics, you know, modern comics the way they are now, I mean, like George Lucas did not act alone in the original franchise or in the original trilogy, because Irving Kershner directed Empire Strikes Back, which a lot of people say is the best one, you and me included. And then Return of the Jedi was directed by Richard Marquand.
And I've heard that the editors really saved A New Hope because the first cut of it was apparently incomprehensible.
Oh, yeah, because I've seen all the deleted scenes that they took out, like the work print versions. Oh, my gosh. The whole scene with him and Biggs on Tatooine walking around and talking about stuff. I'm like, this is boring.
Yeah, that would have really fucked up the early
The
pacing
information
of the
is so good, though, where it's like they talk about hating the Empire, and it's like, you know, joining the Academy is one of the only ways to get out of, you know,
But you get a lot of that
lives.
in context if you pay close
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
But it
And
kinda-
that's my preferred way to like
if
have
they
stories
told
told.
it
If you
better,
don't have to say it directly to somebody's face.
If they told it better, it would make a little more sense when he shows up, because he obviously knows Biggs, but you don't really get the sense that, you know, like how close they were.
Yeah.
that does, that was a little bit sad that we lost out on some storytelling with Biggs and all that, and some of the other characters that were on Tatooine as well. But in terms of pacing, I mean,
no, yeah,
it
no,
works a lot better as they released it.
I completely agree. I'm just
there is ways you can make like character interaction like that very interesting. I mean, you just have to work on the pacing, and the dialogue has to be catchy enough and has to maintain people's attention enough to where it's not boring. Because you see, whenever George Lucas had full control over dialogue and editing, look what we got.
It is rough.
Yeah, it's
like when Stephen King made his own version of The Shining and has like the fucking scenes at the beginning where
dude, Stephen King, I've read a lot of his stuff.
Droning on and on about
when he gets involved in film.
The whole, like, when Pat Hingle takes Jack into the basement to talk about the boiler.
Yeah.
That whole scene could have just been said, "This is the boiler. Be careful when operating it, because it could potentially explode." All right, moving on. That could have been done so much. Instead, it's just like, the valve is up here, this is down here, make sure you keep everything regulated. And it's just, it goes on for like 5 minutes.
It was an actual instructional video for the boiler.
Yes.
I feel like writers have to do so much research to make their writing seem believable to a wide audience. It's like I have to prove I know what I'm talking about. I've done my research, so it's like, here it all is. And it's like, ugh.
Well,
kill me.
Well, Stephen King has had full creative control over 2 films in his life. Full creative control. Number 1, The Shining miniseries, which, is very boring, has some good stuff, but overall still very boring. Number 2, Maximum Overdrive. Oh, Maximum Overdrive! Holy hell!
I will say though that his cameo in Rose Matter is pretty fantastic, where he's the pizza guy.
Yeah,
he's like the.
Yeah, and the thing with Stephen King as well, I did not know. First, a neat little tidbit. I did not realize he was that tall.
He's pretty tall.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was like, holy shit. There's like 6'4", 6'5".
I never really realized about people's heights unless someone points it out, so I didn't know how tall he was.
But then, of course, there was also another thing about Stephen King. The only person that he said has done a good job adapting his films that he appreciates is Frank Darabont, which is why he signed off on Frank Darabont doing...
I gotta say, the Mist out Stephen King.
Yes!
That ending was super dark.
Yes!
Which he even agreed with on that.
Yeah, he said, why didn't I think of that? And The Green Mile, he said, did a really good job of telling the story and keeping everything as close as it could be, but onto the screen. And he agreed that the changes that were made in The Shawshank Redemption, it was merited in order to make it work better as a film. It's just he hated what Stanley Kubrick did because Kubrick rubbed people the wrong way. I mean, even the actors that worked with him hated him. I mean, they would work with him again because it was
What's
a
her
challenge.
face had a really good reason because he basically tortured her.
Yeah, Shelley Duvall.
Yeah,
yeah, in The Shining, he literally tortured her to the point where she went
created
crazy.
like more of an art piece, and it was still a horror art piece. And I don't understand how. I've never heard his exact reasoning, but I really don't understand why King hates it so much.
It's because overall he thought Stanley Kubrick's approach was, the changes he made, turning the mallet to an axe. An axe on visually is a lot more menacing, from a basic standpoint, whereas a mallet, a croquet mallet being something that would normally, be used as, playing a game and everything, all of a sudden being used for malice and murder. I mean, that can be scary in its own right. However,
do you really think that
stuff,
Here's Johnny would have become as iconic as it was if he was busting through the door with a croquet
I'm sorry,
mallet?
No.
That croquet mallet would be broken after a couple hits.
Yes.
There's
it's not
no
realistic.
way to stand up.
Well,
it's going to look stupid.
And plus, the other thing he didn't like was the casting of Jack Nicholson. Which, the thing with Jack Nicholson, I can agree this much. Jack Nicholson was playing Jack Nicholson. He was not playing the character. He was playing Jack Nicholson playing that character. It's a lot like his portrayal of the Joker. I love his portrayal of the Joker. He plays like a psychotic Bugs Bunny, which is what he said he wanted. But there is a lot of Jack Nicholson in that performance. And it's Jack
He does
Nicholson
a really good job of becoming unhinged when he does, too.
Yes.
So,
yeah. I mean, that's the thing about him. There's actors who can mold themselves into a character. Gary Oldman's a great example of that. The dude can literally transform himself into a character by just, like, complete method acting. Jack Nicholson operates under the authority of acting that his job is to make you either love him or hate him. That's his whole thing. It's pretty much like how a professional wrestler approaches things. You know, when you're a face, you're the good guy. When you're a heel, you're the bad guy. Your job as the heel is to make the crowd hate you to death, just despise you. Your job as the face is to make everyone in the crowd, inspire everyone in the crowd. And Jack Nicholson did that with his characters. Like, the first movie I remember him in, that I remember seeing, like, back when I was younger, was from Easy Riders, which had Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper. And he played this hitchhiker who hitched a ride with him. He was only in the film for, like, 15 minutes. But I fell in love with the guy because, you know, he was hilarious. Because, you know, he had a funny way after he took a swig of whiskey just to make everyone laugh. He would just, like, take a swig and go, just... And Jack Nicholson just his performance made me fall in love with the guy. And then there's his character in The Departed, who I absolutely despise. His character in The Departed, Frank Costello, is menacing, psychopathic, and power hungry, and has every intention of killing everyone around him as long as he can stay in power. He is as horrible as a human being as you can get, and it makes his death so good when it happens. That's how Jack Nicholson operates. And you see, I think
maybe the reason I didn't have any problem with him just playing himself in The Shining was because that was the first time I saw him.
Fair enough.
And it was just like, he was not Jack Nicholson to me. He was the character that I was seeing on the screen, and I didn't even know his name as an actor at that point. So.
Yeah.
Outside of, like, seeing the credits beforehand, you know, which I never really paid attention to or remembered as a kid. So.
Yeah, I just watched a lot of movies with Jack Nicholson in it.
I don't know, even rewatching it, though, like, it's just, like, I guess where it was my first exposure to it, and I didn't read the book first or anything, but Jack Nicholson is Jack Torrance to me. And
Fair enough.
I don't have that same problem that I guess King has for that reason.
I mean, I read a little bit of Stephen King stuff, and a lot of times he's his own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Like, I love The Dark Tower, but I also hate The Dark Tower.
Yeah. I love what I've read of it, but after someone spoiled the way it ends for me, I just never bothered finishing the last two books. So I
mean,
fuck
honestly,
that.
like, if you get through Wizard and Glass is super cool, and then you could almost skip all the way to the last book. I mean,
Wizard and Glass, I think, was the one I was in the middle of.
Wizard and Glass is pretty darn cool. I really liked it, but like Wolves of the Kala and like Song of Susanna, it's just like.
Wait, no, I did finish Wizard and Glass. So yeah, I did. I was about to read Wolves of the Kala, and I started reading it, and I just got bored and quit.
Yeah.
Well,
plus
that's
I heard
where
the ending,
that's where it
and I
loses
was
a lot
like,
of
the
people.
ending sounds really stupid, so I don't care.
All I will say about Stephen King is this: cocaine's a hell of a drug.
It sure is. It sure is.
3 books a year back when he was on that shit heavy. Good Lord. I mean, cocaine. I mean, hell, he wrote some of his best work on that. I mean, he wrote It, which.
See, I was telling
holy
somebody
hell.
last night that doesn't really. I guess they don't really get what ADD medication that I have a prescription for.
Mm-hmm.
But the ADD medication that I have a prescription for basically turns you into a superhero. It's like it fixes all of my problems with not being able to come up with names. I can remember everything that I'm told when I have it. I don't do the crap when I'm talking and I go like this and I say like 20 times like when I'm trying to put out a fucking point. Like,
yeah, I get that.
I see that. I see myself doing that
a
in the
lot.
videos when I'm editing them sometimes, and I'm like, I'm just gonna cut all those fucking likes out of there.
So it turns you like
like.
So I'm sitting here like actually like having like a conversation without saying like 20 times.
Bradley
like I'm
Cooper's
doing right
character
now.
from Limitless, where it's like
I'm popping around.
Yeah, all of a sudden the light turns on.
I remember all these names.
But, yeah, I was telling him last night that if I had that prescription, I feel like I could learn the maps from Siege in a few weeks. And he told me he didn't think that was possible.
I'll see
but
if
it's
I can
basically
get-
cocaine. So I mean, if
Well-
you can write 3 books a year, you'd be surprised what you can do with a drug like that.
Sorry about that. Had to edit that part out because of potential legal reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah. So okay, I guess we can all say this about the Star Wars franchise. I love it, but it does a very good job of making me not love it, I guess.
I would honestly say if you like Star Wars, but you were really let down by The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker like I was, and you haven't read a lot of the old comics, go pick up Dark Empire.
Yeah.
It's everything's contained in graphic novel form. It came out years ago. And then read that, and then look at what they're trying to do with these movies and tell me that they shouldn't have just done that from the beginning. I mean,
there's always the argument that adapting something from one format to another and keeping it the same is redundant, though, which I don't agree with at all.
I mean, it honestly seemed like they backed themselves into a corner, and then somebody pulled that out, and they were like trying to like ham-fist it in there. I mean, it seriously feels that way. I mean, because some of the scenes were taken from that I feel like and just repurposed, and it's like, well, if they're gonna do it and it's that blatant, just do this.
Do it.
It's already makes sense.
Like I said, I really wish that they would have just thrown out whatever the hell happened with, the 8th one, and let him come back and do 8 and 9 himself, just to see how he had originally planned for the whole thing to go.
Abrams, yeah, I think.
Because I don't know if it would have been as trash if he got to do it from the beginning. Whatever he did with the last one was still pretty questionable, but I just have to know if it's only that way because he just couldn't come up with anything better to fix what he fucked up
pretty
in the
much.
previous one.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people agree with that sentiment because when J.J. Abrams did this, he had a working script for Episode 8, and they pretty much gave Colin Trevorrow, the guy who was supposed to direct Episode 9, the spec script for 8 to go off of. But then after Rian Johnson changed everything up for it, it was just like, oh, okay, hey Colin, we're gonna actually have to have you go off of this script. And Colin Trevorrow got fired because his script was not good. Because apparently the changes that Rian Johnson made, Colin Trevorrow was just like, this isn't what we discussed, guys. And they were just like, well, Colin, you're fired. And they're like, and Colin's like, okay. Shit. I mean, that's a shitty way of handling it. I mean, just because, one guy changes everything up and it's just like, I'm going to tell my Star Wars story now. It's like, can't you wait until, they give you full control over your own trilogy? No. I mean, because you're a big enough name, but it's pointless at this stage of the
I would still even be interested to see how it went if Rian
Johnson
got to make his own trilogy without Kathleen Kennedy having any fingers in it.
I would say that. I'd like to see that. Well,
because I could tell, I've seen Rian Johnson's shit previously.
Yeah. Looper is killer. And Brick, you talked about Brick.
And I could tell Kathleen Kennedy had some fingers in the script and what went down in that movie to an extent.
Well,
and I'm not going to go into the political reasons why, but I can tell.
Well,
and I would just wonder what it would look like if he got to do his own trilogy from the beginning as well. So I would think they should have just separated them both and let them done their own thing.
Yeah. If you would watch, if you ever get a chance to watch Knives Out, you'd see that too, because
I
loved Knives Out.
Brick was Rian Johnson, wasn't it?
Yep.
And I was so surprised to hear that after, fucking Last Jedi. I was like, dude, Brick's one of my favorite movies of all time. How did he go from that to fucking up Star Wars so bad?
I mean, that's Kennedyism, Kathleen Kennedyism. That's the only thing I can think of. But before we go on any further, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end this video here. Thank you all very much for tuning in. This was the Nostalgia Critics review of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Oh lordy, what a shit show of a trilogy. So hopefully you all enjoyed it, and hopefully we will see you all in the next one. If you want to see the original video, link is down below. And I guess until next time, signing off, I'm Nate.
Micah.
Nick.
And we'll see you then, everybody. Peace out.